Hello, I'm Bill Ferguson, and I'm going to talk about something that once you get it, once it clicks for you, it'll profoundly change your life. What you're going to see is that anytime you have a relationship that isn't working or an area of life that isn't working, that which we think is the problem ultimately is never, never the problem. It's always the symptom of something deeper. There's an underlying condition of resisting or hanging on that creates a state of fear, upset, and tunnel vision. It destroys our ability to see what needs to be done, and it forces us to act in a way that makes everything worse. So let me explain. At any moment, what so is always, always, always what so. What happened is what happened. What is, period. And then there's all our stuff about it. Well, if you're at peace with the truth, and it doesn't mean you like it, but if you're at peace with the truth, you automatically look in a direction where solutions, opportunity, and possibility show up. It just happens automatically. So I'll give you an example. My wife and I have a black and white cat, and that cat won't bark. I can yell at the cat, I can scream at the cat, I can plead with the cat. It just doesn't make any difference because no matter what I do, that cat isn't going to bark. That's a fact. Well, if I can be at peace with this truth, and if I want to hear barking, what do I need to do? Go get a dog. See, when you're at peace with the truth, you automatically look in a direction where you can see what needs to be done. Now, look at any area of your life that works great. That'll be an area where you can flow with whatever happens. Things happen you don't like, but you don't get hooked. Now, let's look at any area of your life that isn't working. That's an area where you're fighting the truth. In my example of the cat, instead of putting my focus on what do I need to do based on the facts, all my focus is going to be on fighting the cats. I don't know what the problem is with that doggone cat. That cat needs to bark, and it's not. So what's happening is that instead of putting my focus on solutions, all my focus automatically is on resisting. And then my focus of resisting is 180 degrees opposite of where the solutions are. I can't find solutions because I'm not looking for them. All my focus is on resisting. So what I do is I fight, resist, hang on, withdraw, I act destructively, and makes everything worse. So now, not only is the cat not barking, it's starting to bite. And that's what happens when we fight the truth. Literally, you look at any area of your life that isn't working, that's an area where something is the way that it is, and you're fighting it. And in your fighting it, you destroy your ability to see what needs to be done, and you act in a way that forces you to magnify the problem. Now, fortunately, that's a condition that gets reserved or can get reversed. Okay, so here's an interesting question. Why do we fight the truth? We fight the truth because the truth hurts. It strikes a nerve. It triggers that childhood hurt of feeling worthless, not good enough, not worth loving, failure, that sort of thing. And in that hurt, ultimately is nothing more than thoughts and feelings, but there's nothing threatening about it at all, but subconsciously, we perceive it as a major threat to our survival, because if that really is the truth about me, why even be alive? So some circumstance rolls around, triggers my hurt. I don't notice the hurt. All I can see is the circumstance that triggers it, and I misidentify the threat. The threat is not the circumstance. The threat is the nerve that's being triggered. So circumstance rolls around, triggers this hurt. I get threatened. I think the threat is the circumstance. So automatically I fight, resist, hang on, withdraw, which makes everything worse very, very quickly. But the great news is that all this can get reversed. It can get healed because the hurt is not based on fact. What happened as a child may be a fact, but what we did with it is not. So let me talk a little bit about how this works. When we're born pure love, but we're born into a world that kills love. So what happens is that in the process of growing up, every single one of us experiences very, very painful losses of love. We experience rejection, invalidation. And as a little child, the only way we can explain these incredibly painful losses of love is to blame ourselves. Clearly, I'm the problem. And then we decide what that problem is. I'm not good enough. I'm not worth loving. I'm worthless. I'm a failure. I don't count. I don't matter. I'm this. I'm that. And it is never the truth. But in the eyes of a little child, it becomes our truth. And we spend the whole rest of our life running from it, doing everything we can to prove it's not true. And if any circumstance comes along and triggers that hurt and hints that it is true, subconsciously that hurt or that circumstance is perceived as a threat, which forces us to act destructively. But when you can heal the hurt, the circumstance loses power, and then you see clearly, and then you can see what needs to be done, and you can make your decisions and take action based on fact instead of emotion. But when we're threatened, facts are irrelevant. It's all about emotion. Subconsciously, it's all about how do I change things so I don't have to feel my hurt. But like I say, this can all get reversed, but you got to know how. And I can walk you through the steps. I can show you how. So what I invite you to do is give me a call and we can set up a 30-minute free consulting session, and we'll take a look at your life, see what's not working, and create a plan of action for how you can have it be great. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you. Bye.